Normal opened in 2013 in Denmark, and since then they successfully opened stores all around Denmark. They call themselves hybrid chain stores because they are a mixture of a business and grocery. Normal imports products from the EU and is able to sell 30 or 40% cheaper than other stores in Denmark. They are not engaged themselves in marketing campaigns, but they are present on Facebook, encouraging potential customers to purchase, mentioning sales and new offers. They are also cooperating with a YouTuber and blogger Josephine Wicks, and they participating on charity events. Normal has low prices but also well-known brands in their stores, such as Gillette, Rexona, Whiskas, Palmolive. But Normal's product line excludes food, they only sell sweets. They are in a financial position when they can open new stores. Their business model canvas, customer segments. Normal aims to reach women. 80% of their customers include women. They also targeting single people and families with their everyday products. We can say they are targeting a mass market. Their value proposition. The biggest value they offer is well-known and therefore trustworthy brands for a much cheaper price. Their brands and their prices are the biggest value for their customers. Channels. They are raising awareness of their products and stores on Facebook. They are also participating on charity events and cooperating with a well-known Danish blogger, as we mentioned it earlier. There are 4 key criteria by which capabilities can be assessed in terms of providing competitive advantage. We took 3 capabilities into consideration when we made our green analysis. The first one is the supply chain. It is valuable. The fact that they get their supplies from the EU gives them their biggest advantage, the lower price. It is rare, especially in Denmark. Unfortunately, it is imitable. For this price, they cannot export any other way, so it is non-substitutable. Normal's products are valuable. They are well-known brands and trustworthy as well. On the other hand, they are not rare. They can be found in any other store, but for a higher price. They are easy to substitute and imitable. Their prices are the biggest competitive advantage they have. Therefore, it is valuable, rare, non-substitutable, and also imitable. As a part of the external analysis, we created Porter's 5 forces framework for the company. Factors that need to be considered by new entrants. The differentiation of the product is low. Retaliation of existing companies are expected both in Denmark and in Sweden. Therefore, the threat of entry is high. Threat of substitutes. There are lots of substitutes of the products sold by Normal all around the world. Everyday hygienic products can be found in supermarkets, drogeries, and pharmacies. Therefore, the threat of substitutes is high. Power of buyers. Since we are not talking about concentrated buyers, Normal targets mass market, the power of buyers is low. Power of suppliers. Normal suppliers are from the EU. Having these suppliers ensure the competitive advantage for them. The switching cost would be high. Therefore, we claim that the power of suppliers is also high. Competitive rivalry. Low differentiation and usually high fixed costs are dominate in this industry. There are many organizations with similar products aiming the same target group, but none of the rivals has such low cost. Therefore, the competitive rivalry is in the middle. Based on the internal and external analysis, we conducted a SWOT. The strengths of the company are that they are supplied from the EU, they have 30 to 40% cheaper prices than other stores, and that they are selling well-known brands. On the other hand, the weaknesses is their easy to copy strategy, furthermore the fact that they lack the knowledge of internationalization, the opportunities of normal, that they can go overseas to countries with similar economy, and they can always broaden their product range. The threats normal should face are the problems in the EU, the new import regulations or taxes, and the retaliation from other companies in the industry. We created a Berry index based on the factors such as the population, number of women, GDP per capita, or the money spent on healthcare. We choose Sweden because Norway is not part of the EU. Normal would face problems related to import regulations. Their competitive advantage would be lost since they would not be able to import the goods from the EU without raising their expenses. While in Finland, the gross domestic product fall back and that can easily influence our company. In a country where the economic performance is not good, people won't spend that much money on purchasing products. Sweden is our choice not only because of these factors, but because their culture is similar. The government supports foreign companies in the country, the size of the population, and therefore the size of the target group. The market is related to the number of normal target group and the potential customers. In Sweden, there is almost twice as many women as in Denmark. After Denmark, the health expenditure, also known as the money spent on healthcare, is the highest in Sweden. We believe that for a shop that sells hygienic products related to body and healthcare, this is an important factor to take into consideration. In relation to Hofstede, Denmark and Sweden are very similar. Power distance. Danish and Swedish people do not lead, they coach, and the employee autonomy is required. They believe in independence. In individualist societies, people are supposed to look after themselves and their direct families only. Both Denmark and Sweden has a high performance for a low-knit social framework. A low score on the masculinity dimension means that the dominant values in society are caring for others and the quality of life. In feminine countries, it is important to keep the life and the work in balance. The dimension uncertainty avoidance has to do with the way the society deals with the fact that the future can never be known. Denmark and Sweden are score low in this dimension. This means that none of these countries need a lot of structure and predictability in their work life. Long-term orientation. A low score indicates that Danish culture is normative. Even though Sweden has a little bit higher score, it can still be considered normative. People in such societies have a strong concern with establishing the absolute truth. Indulgence. Denmark has a high score in this dimension, meaning that people in Denmark place a higher degree of importance on leisure time. They act as they please and spend money as they wish. We also took a look at Gesteland's model and we come to the conclusion that both countries are deal-focused. Unlike Asian cultures, Nordic ones are deal-focused because they do not wish to build a deep relationship. It is possible to make a quick deal with them, having meetings online and not necessarily just face to face. Direct language can be used. Denmark and Sweden are also considered formal because they focus on power and status, respect the elderly people. Hierarchy is an important part of the culture. Rigid time culture. Nordic cultures are easygoing. They find punctual and schedules important, but on the other hand, they are not afraid of changes. Reserved. They are not only focused on words, they find meaning in silence in the conversation. They use non-verbal communication as well. Entry modes. As we looked on the internal factors, the product complex, the product differ, the desired mode characteristics, and the transaction, we had more plus than minus, so we knew that we had to choose an intermediate mode for our company normal. That would be the most beneficial. At the end, we had two opportunities, licensing and franchising. And after serious consideration, we decided licensing because we think that it's important that Swedish department will make the marketing. They know the customers, the culture and the country, so it would minimize the risks. The other advantages of licensing is the speed of entry, that we are able to circumvent trade barriers, and the high return on investment. Entry mode. As we looked in the internal factors, the product complex, the product differ, the desired mode characteristics, based on the gross profit, our assumption is that the turnover for 2015 was around 180 million. If we calculate with a contribution margin of 40%. Since the company is not producing the products, the gross profit will be equal with the contribution margin. Normal has 50 shops, therefore we divided the turnover, variable cost and the net cash flow with 50 to find out how much does one shop cost. Our assumption is that the opening of a new shop abroad would maximum cost 5 million. Therefore, we included that amount in the net cash flow. Based on our calculation and assumptions, the net present value will be around 600,000, meaning that the cash flow has value right now. Furthermore, the internal rate of return is 19%, the return of our investment in average per year. The accumulated present value turns positive between the first and the second year. That's when we get our liquidity back.